Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Review. I'm Josh and I'm here with Jim. And we're going to talk about a movie that has gotten, it's starting to get its due a little more than it used to back when it came out. A movie starring Meg Ryan, America's Sweetheart, and Tom Hanks, America's Doughy-Faced Everyman. Produced by the team that brought you Back to the Future and E.T. It just came out on Blu-ray, and it's called Joe Versus the Volcano.
Say, Peter, don't you call me, cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Cheers. Cheers.
Ooh.
That's, yeah.
This is one of my favorite films of all time. It's definitely in my top 5. I rediscovered it about 6 years ago.
Okay.
I saw it in the theater when it first came out, and I loved it for different reasons than I do now. But rediscovering it, I was in a working environment that was very similar to Joe in the movie, and so I felt a great affinity to it. And this is like good young Tom Hanks, where it's a movie he's carrying on his shoulders, and it's not just a zany rom-com. It's a romantic comedy with like a lot of underlying themes. It's a heavy movie.
Very. Tom Hanks stars as Joe, and as you said, he works in a terrible office, and he's an ex-firefighter. He's always sick.
I don't feel good.
So what? You think I feel good? Nobody feels good. After childhood, it's a fact of life. I feel rotten. So what? I don't let it bother me.
And he goes to the doctor again.
You have a brain cloud. There's a black fog of tissue running right down the center of your brain.
So then he goes home after quitting his job and is given an offer by an eccentric rich man to jump into a volcano.
That's right.
To save the Waponi, which is a tribe of people on a small island in the Pacific. Every 100 years, the Big Woo, which is the volcano on the island, requires a sacrifice. And Joe just happens to be dying, so he's offered all the 4 unlimited credit cards to prepare for his journey and just live a nice few months and go die.
One thing that shows his character, the quality of his character and his integrity, is he quits his job when he finds out about the brain cloud. Samuel Harvey Graynamore does not knock on his door. There's a pause where he's playing his ukulele in the morning. And that moment right there is to show that Joe is quitting. He knows he's dying, but he's quitting anyway because he knows there's more things to life than this terrible job.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even know that he's going to get all these credit cards and have this wonderful last 5 months of his life.
No,
he doesn't know what he's going to do. So there's a lot of courage there, again, going back to the firefighting.
Yeah, it's the first act really is the whole story of Joe's life at the office, and it starts off with this fantastic set piece of all the workers coming in first thing in the morning, and this terrible, awful lot.
Another day older and deeper in debt.
And he destroys the sole of his shoe on the turnstile.
Oh, that's
as
right.
He's going
that's
in.
right.
He's trapped, and the office is just this circular death spiral, and he can't get out. He makes $300 a week.
Every day is the same.
I mean, even the lines of the 16 Tons song at the start of the movie.
Say, Peter, don't you call me, cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
I owe my soul to the soul again. A recurring theme. I owe my soul to the company store. The company store, as many people might not know, it was a situation for instance, coal miners who they worked in the coal mine, and in certain countries and certain places they didn't get paid. They got vouchers for food,
Right.
and vouchers to help take care of their families and everything else, but they didn't actually get any money, so they couldn't rise above their station. So they were trapped, and they owed their soul to the company store, and that's symbolically the situation Joe's in.
But so he walks in and everything's already in motion, and Dan Hedaya has 3 scenes in this movie, and every one of them is fantastic. And he's got this whole first scene where he's just on the phone having this, again, circles. Yeah. Circles, this endlessly circular argument.
I'm not arguing that with you.
I'm not arguing that with you. I'm not arguing that with you. I'm not arguing that with you.
And Dan Hedaya plays like, he does a wonderful job of playing that challenging boss that has nothing to back him up.
Absolutely.
Joe, don't touch that? What are you doing?
I'm opening or closing the main drain.
Shouldn't be touching that, Joe.
Nothing happened. You know how long I've been wondering what would happen if I did that?
You know, he's saying, we'll replace you in a second. You were never good enough for this job. And then the second he's challenged, it's like, you better go.
Yeah.
You have to go because there's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic.
Yeah, oh yeah. Because we've met people like that.
Oh, yeah.
We've worked for people like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why that first act of the movie is I love it so much because I've worked in so many terrible places, as has so many other people. I mean, that whole first scene could be a movie in itself, and it's people struggling in a place that they can't stand, and their soul is slowly degrading.
Yeah.
And then something comes along to hopefully like get them out of there. But I've worked with so many people who may still be trapped in the same jobs.
Oh, yes.
And just like Dee Dee and the other office worker.
We're presuming they're still there.
Yeah.
They've got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and a lot of foreshadowing in that lamp. A lot of colorful scenes, and it's rotating, circular again, and it rotates around. There's a blonde-haired woman sitting by the shore. There's a sort of Easter Island style looking head. There's a ship. There's a lightning bolt looking thing. And
Which we've already seen twice at that point.
Yeah, yes, because the opening scene of the movie, which I think is a homage to the opening scene of Metropolis.
Oh, sure.
Is everyone walking towards the American Panoscope factory, and it's this lightning bolt path.
Which is the logo of the company itself.
That's right, and the motto of the company is home of the rectal probe. The shape is somewhat synonymous with the rectum and the digestive system.
Yeah.
If you look at medical charts, it's almost a very similar. Yeah.
Very
So,
simplified.
Yeah.
So he goes to the doctor, and this is when he discovers he's got the brain cloud, and then makes his way back to the office. Sees a little flower that has been trodden upon in the opening scene, and he lifts it back up out of the pavement and tries to resuscitate it, which is again, he is himself resuscitated, and then he's bringing everything. He's trying to bring everything else back to life.
Exactly. Stepping into the next stage of his life.
Not that anybody could look good under these zombie lights. I can feel them sucking the juice out of my eyeball. Suck, 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 suck.
I think the first act is the most relatable one as well, because like it's towards the end of it, on his way out, after quitting, he asks Dee Dee out.
Dee Dee,
Yeah.
how about dinner tonight?
Yeah, okay.
She's shocked.
Wow. What a change.
And that's when the movie starts to crank up the magical realism.
Absolutely.
It's just like the collage lights of Staten Island, just like the patchwork kind of quality of Joe's building.
Yep.
We're pulling out of the standard awful reality, and we're moving into a different.
We're getting out of
place.
the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a nice place you have here, Joe.
One of my favorite things about the production design was by Bo Welsh is the fact that his apartment, like many apartments in many houses that have been bought up with corrupt landlords who break apartments into, or break houses into like 50 different apartments. The wall in Joe's apartment splits right down the fireplace.
Overall, the production design is just fantastic throughout the movie, and it's one of the biggest things, one of the biggest assets the movie has. Again, he's got this tiny little apartment, messy, giant crack in the wall.
That's right, with
in
a
that
strange
same shape.
Yes, yes, with a lightning bolt shape.
So then Lloyd Bridges shows up, gives the offer.
Total red carpet situation. You're a national hero. You're Charles Lindbergh. It's wine, women, and song, and then you jump into the volcano.
Joe ultimately decides to take the offer.
Which is one of my favorite lines.
Yeah.
Live like a king, die like a man. That's what I say. What do you say?
All right, I'll do it.
And I mean, that is one of my favorite parts about the movie is the delivering. Meg Ryan has scenes like this where they deliver their lines so flatly during extreme circumstances, where they're saying something very like vital and important, but treating it like they're going down to go get beer at the store and come back.
The inner monologue is very outer a lot of times in this movie.
Sure.
Unexpected times where it's just like, this is what the subtext is, and just like there's no subtext to a lot of this movie because the characters just say all the subtext.
So where would you like to go?
This movie follows a lot of the sort of monomyth, the Joseph Campbell monomythic pattern, and this is the stage where you have a personal aid. Ossie Davis kind of falls into that area, but he seems to be giving Joe advice, but he's saying, I can't help you and you have to help yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You say to me you want to go shopping, want to buy clothes, but you don't know what kind. You leave that hanging in the air like I'm going to fill in the blanks. Now that to me is like asking me who you are, and I don't know who you are. It's taken me all my life to find out who I am, and I am tired now. You hear what I'm saying?
And this is the shopping montage.
Yes.
Which is great, which I feel, because this is around the area, late 80s, early 90s of montages. But I'm willing to believe that this is a play on the montage and a satire on the montage.
Pretty woman, walking down the street, pretty woman.
There's a montage in Pretty Woman, and it's all about Richard Gere giving Julia Roberts credit cards. I'm still paying for sex, and here are my credit cards so you can do all this. Whereas Graynamore is given Joe credit cards to go and have a night out on the town and during your adventure 5 months before you die, which is a completely different set of events. And the things that Joe buys, the majority of the things that Joe buys are very necessary.
I'll take this too.
And they end up being practical whether you necessarily expect it at that point or not.
They save lives.
You travel the world, you're away from home, perhaps away from your family. All you have to depend on is yourself and your luggage.
I'll take 4 of them.
May you live to be 1,000 years old, sir.
Thanks, same to you.
I agree with you that it's meant to be satirical and play on those tropes. And there are points, other montages where the movie kind of tips its hand a little bit at that, where there's the fishing montage later when they're on the boat. Good Lovin' is playing, and it's just like the most obvious thing in the world, and they're fishing, and Joe can't catch anything, oh boy.
It's kind of a terrifying looking puppet, but it looks like a terrifying Henson puppet. But Tom Hanks' expression when he backs away from it is like this sheer horror.
Yeah.
Like he's terrified.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our descent into Los Angeles.
Cut to the airplane and the voice of the flight attendant.
Is that Meg Ryan's second role?
Hi.
Hi. Are you Joe Banks?
Yeah. Who are you?
I'm the daughter of the guy who hired you, Angelica Graynamore.
Yeah, he lands in Los Angeles only to meet
Angelica.
Played by?
Meg Ryan.
Shocker.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
They do look like little monsters or something. But they're good little monsters.
She's playing, we were discussing this last night, kind of there's a lot of actor, a lot of prototypical California. There's Katharine Hepburn.
A little hint of that.
There's Marilyn Monroe.
A hint of Valley Girl.
Yes.
I'm a flibbertigibbet. Come on, let's get out of here.
Very overconfident, but completely insecure and a complete wreck.
I'm a grown woman and I live on my father's money. That restaurant that had my painting up, that's my father's restaurant.
Listen to me. If you have a choice between killing yourself and doing something you're scared of doing, why not take the leap and do the thing you're scared of doing?
And she has to get him to the boat, and she's forgotten, and they have to hurry out of there.
Mm-hmm.
They get to the jetty where the Tweedledee is waiting with Patricia Graynamore,
who is played by
Meg Ryan.
That's your half-sister?
Yeah.
I mean, there certainly has to be something there in the idea that it's 3 women that Joe is with, individually,
Right.
and they all obviously share characteristics.
There's the mythology of the goddess trio, right? So
Yeah.
you've got the maiden, which is Dee Dee, you've got the crone, which is Angelica, and you've got the goddess, which is Patricia. The goddess is supposed to be the one that nurtures fertility, et cetera, and spoiler alert, she is the one that Joe loves and ends up with.
Yeah.
One thing I love is when Joe says farewell to Angelica, she waves from up on the pier down to him and has this strut of confidence as if he's delivered something to her of confidence, life can be good.
Yeah, you don't...
Things can be positive, and she just seems happy to have met him, and, you know,
Yeah,
maybe things are going to be okay with her.
He might be a bit of a catalyst.
Yeah.
Going through and just, you know, maybe he does change Dee Dee's life. Who knows?
Right. He's sort of shedding, you know, parts of his older life. There's a metamorphosis going on. He takes off his jungle gym hat and he whips it off into the water. Now, that could be shedding the skin, but Angelica also made sort of fun of him, or was questioning his outfit. And
it might be just him realizing that his outfit's kind of silly.
Yeah. Yeah. And he throws it in the water with George Delarue's soundtrack, like just soaring and very romantic. He's off on a big Pacific voyage to the unknown.
And you start getting into Patricia's character.
That's right, especially with the scene where Joe is in his cabin. He's in bed like a little boy, because I think there are a lot of themes where Joe is kind of a little boy, right?
He's growing up.
Yeah, he's growing up, but he's still kind of like, he's under the covers, he's tucked in, and he's reading a book.
I've always kept clear of my father's stuff ever since I got out on my own, and now he's pulled me back in. He knew I wanted this boat, and he used it, and he got me working for him, which I swore I would never do. I feel ashamed because I had a price.
There is a quality of like, Joe just wants to sleep. Like, can you just leave me alone and just
like,
go upstairs?
Yeah, it's kind of his posture through the whole scene is kind of just like, okay.
Yeah. I've read theories that following this, Joe goes to sleep in the Tweedledee and things kind of end there for his life, and then the rest of the movie is like some kind of rebirth. It's just whatever, Ed. I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I watch the movie, I stop it there. Because I tend to rewatch this movie, but I tend to stop it there because it is a real sort of finality. It's such a poignant point to like meet Angelica and everything's going. I'm talking bullshit out my ass. This is delicious. I think I need more whiskey.
Oh boy.
It's a little weird today, huh?
There's a typhoon warning.
John Patrick Shanley, he's a playwright, writer in New York, and he's written over 25 stage plays. And the film is very theatrical. What I love about it is it expands from big budget Hollywood, Amblin, to small, intimate scenes that are very much like a stage play. And the scene, the pre-Typhoon scene, seems very stage play. It seems very like green gel lighting, theatrical, in a theater sense.
Particularly by that point with the Typhoon, like you notice a little bit, but you're swept up in the plot by that point so much that it's just it's just like it turns green before the storm hits.
And Joe, as the innocent again, is well, what's a typhoon like? Like, what is a typhoon? I don't know what a typhoon. I'm from Staten Island. I have no idea what a typhoon is like.
Well, Joe, I think you're going to find out, and he certainly does.
That's right.
And in this high stress moment, they look at each other, and finally,
one of my favorite moments.
Finally, they're just again present in the moment, and they kiss. Joe, again, of course, because Joe is,
a firefighter, he cares about people.
He's a hero. And as he finally locates her a few meters away from the ship, which gets struck by lightning.
Right, is there a symbolic graphic?
I don't know. There probably, you could probably
repeated
want to cut to
the
repeated motif. You've got Joe and Patricia stranded, all 4 steamer trunks pop up.
Yeah. Again, going back to the montage of the shopping montage.
Yeah, this is where that all pays off.
Yeah, so he bought the violin case bar.
Yes.
Which has, I think, a kind of Perrier or water.
I thought it was tonic water.
Tonic
Yeah.
water, and little cups and things in it, and it's shaped like a violin. He's feeding her from the cap of
Just the smallest amount.
bottle, just the smallest amount.
But make sure she gets fresh water.
Making sure she gets fresh water, not taking any for himself. He also bought an oversized umbrella. The umbrella is over Patricia's body as she's lying unconscious.
And a shortwave radio.
And at the end of the scene, he looks up to the heavens and holds out his arms, which goes back to the opening scene where he opens his arms
it all
saying,
comes back around
help me, get me out of here. But it's, I'm free.
But yeah, other than that, it's him keeping Patricia alive.
Yes.
And keeping himself sane as much as he can.
So he can keep her alive.
Exactly.
Yeah. He has no interest in himself.
No, but
which goes back to...
Exactly, but he has to persevere himself so he can keep her alive.
Right. This is an important scene because he sees the moon and he has a realization that he's going to die. But this is only, he's supposed to have 5 months before he dies.
Yeah.
I think they're like 3 weeks in and he's going to die. They're going to run out of water and they're in the belly of the whale, so to speak. And he looks at the moon and says, "Dear God, whose name I do not know, thank you for my life." Because he thinks he's going to die.
Yeah.
It's like a transformative experience again. And you think Joe is dead. I mean, he should be dead.
He should be.
Joe, didn't you drink any water for yourself, Joe?
That's for you.
They managed to find Waponi Woo.
Right.
And the story is essentially back on track.
That's right.
They're where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, in an earlier scene when they're having dinner, Patricia tells Joe that the Waponi culture is based on Romans, Druids, Jews, and Celts.
Yes, yes.
And they have a peculiar love of orange soda, which explains why I can't say peculiar very well. After drinking J&B and orange soda. This is delicious. At this stage in the movie, I could see a lot of audiences tuning out or maybe complaining.
It's maybe too much at this point.
It's when you have maybe 20 minutes of your heroes at sea having, quiet monologues or whatever, and suddenly you're bombarded by color, especially.
Very much.
Because there's a color switch through the whole movie, and flooded with tons of people. And there's a sort of Gilligan's Island aspect to
it. Sure, yeah.
And then they're greeted by Toby Chief, played by Vigoda.
Vigoda and his...
who's fantastic.
Most of his attitude through the entire scenes that he has is just, he's had it with this shit. Will someone please jump into the volcano?
Exactly.
He wants to keep living his life and not lose his soul.
It is my soul.
I hope you don't lose it.
So do I.
It's not completely Gilligan's Island. It's not completely chaos. We have the scene where Meg Ryan, Patricia's character, is treated to a very nice spa environment where they're...
But then you get the contrasting slapstick of
Joe, where he's getting like slapped with fish and
the octopi are getting stuck to his face.
And they're all laughing at him, like they're obviously mocking him.
Thank you, I feel great.
As is the duck that's standing, standing on his luggage, but it's a moment of saying the luggage is still here. Your luggage is okay. Your baggage is okay.
Yeah, this is what you've brought with you.
And you're going to bring it with you for the rest of your life.
It's attached.
That's what that moment's about. Yeah.
For sure.
There is a duck in standing by the mantel clock when Joe's wondering how much time he has left. The idea is that the doctor is a quack. The second duck symbolism we see is with Graynamor's cane.
Oh, that's right.
When he comes to visit Joe. Is Graynamore telling the truth? Is he trying to play Joe? And then the third time we see the duck, it's on his luggage. Joe isn't getting a spa treatment. He's being made a fool of. He's being mocked. I think the most important thing is everyone likes ducks.
All right,
Joe has to climb into that volcano.
Take me to the volcano!
Wait! Stop right there! I love you! And now you're gonna kill yourself.
Tom Hanks does one of his 2 or 3 best deliveries in the entire movie, maybe in his entire career. It's so good.
I love you.
I love you too. I've never been in love with anybody before either. It's great. I am glad. But the timing stinks. I gotta go.
The most beautiful relationship you could ever imagine. 2 independent people who love each other, but they're doing things for themselves.
Yes.
But they're still connected.
They're taking the same step.
That's right.
For different reasons. I felt like this particular ending, I liked that it sort of just allowed for the open end and it allowed for the mystery. And we were talking at the beginning of the episode about the Blu-ray that's just come out from Warner Brothers.
That's right.
With 0 extras.
No, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks are in a different place than they were in 1990.
Sure.
It would be nice to hear from them.
I honestly would wonder how they feel about the movie. I would hope that they have positive
I would think they
feelings.
would. I think this is an artistic movie.
Yeah.
I still consider them artists.
Absolutely. It's a unique movie for both of them.
It is.
Meg Ryan has never had the chance before that or since to express that much range.
Absolutely.
And do that many different characters and do so many different
wonderful
things.
in this movie.
Everything she does is great.
She should have
in
been
that movie.
nominated.
Yes.
That's
yeah. Well, you know how they comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Patrick Shanley is an amazing director. He's directed 25 or more plays in New York. He directed the movie Doubt.
Yeah, he
which
wrote
was
it
based
as well.
on a stage play.
Yes. And we'll talk about he wrote Moonstruck, which was kind of his ticket to be able to make this movie.
He won the Oscar for that movie.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this movie bombed, and he was not able to make another movie for a while. But he just went back and wrote plays, and screenplays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Warner's, why the cold shoulder?
Yeah, nothing.
Right.
Oh well, I guess. Regardless, it's a great film.
It
You
is.
should see it.
Joe Versus the Volcano. The door to the universe is you.
Oh.
Is there any more orange soda?
No, you're just gonna have to drink this.
This isn't good.
Oh, you have
thank
some
you.
left.
Oh, thank you.
I drank all mine.
I'm sorry.
Other side.
Oh.
Other side.